This is Super Yacht News with E. Sisman.
Hi, welcome back to the channel. So a Fijian Navy patrol boat has run aground during its maiden voyage after the vessel was donated to Fiji by the Australian government at the end of March this year. So, like I said, 2024 seems to be the year of running aground. Fiji's Navy confirmed on Tuesday that the RFNS Power Mau, I think it's pronounced, hit a reef on Fiji's remote Lau group of islands on Monday, midweek through its first 2-week-long patrol. The Guardian-class patrol boat ran aground in a passage locals describe as treacherous. Fiji's Navy is conducting a recovery operation with the help from Australia. Now, there were no injuries reported, but the accident must be a major embarrassment for Fiji's Navy, which commissioned the high-tech vessel less than a month ago after it was gifted to Fiji's Prime Minister at a ceremony in Perth, Australia in March. Australia handed over the patrol boat at HMAS Stirling in Western Australia earlier this year. Now, Australia is, like I said, helping with that recovery operation, with Fiji's Navy deploying another patrol boat to the stricken vessel and scrambling to pump water out of the engine room to ensure flooding is controlled. You can see some photographs here. Some of them have been supplied by the Fijian Navy. One of the photos was supplied by one of our subscribers, showing the vessel with a heavy list to port. Now, this is not the first time one of these donated Guardian-class patrol boats has run aground. Australia handed over a new Guardian-class patrol boat to Samoa last year after the police ran aground another $30 million vessel, Nafanawa 2, in October 2021, damaging it beyond repair. All right, we'll move on. So we've got an update on the super yacht that ran aground in Australia last week, Clive Palmer's $40 million yacht, 56 metre or 183 foot yacht, which is also named Australia, ran aground in Australia, was beached on a sandbank near Wave Break Island in the Gold Coast Broadwater. Initially, because of the track of the AIS, we believe that the vessel may have had experienced some issues after it left the marina, went out to sea, then promptly turned around, went back to the marina, and only to repeat the track, running aground on the second pass. However, we've been told by a confidential source with knowledge of the boat that in actual fact, the reason why the vessel was going back and forth was because the captain was actually training with a pilot in order to get permission to be able to make that trip without the pilot having to come on board each time. This is common practice in certain places like this. If a vessel is constantly going in and out, to save having to bring the pilot on and drop them off, they do a course which allows them to negate a pilot on board each time. Now, in order to do so, the captain had to complete 10 times without incident in order to pass that course. Now, according to our source, the captain hit the starboard stabilizer on the sandbank on the second run. The stabilizer is completely destroyed, apparently, or heavily damaged. Now the yacht has to go to a shipyard period in Cairns to fix those issues. Now, we were also informed that the incident in Singapore last year when the yacht ran aground, that was actually a different captain who was replaced after that incident. So it's not looking good for this new skipper, is it? It's safe to say the captain failed his pilot course. Anyway, we'll move on. We've got an update on the Vegas fire, or the Las Vegas Boat Harbor Marina in Lake Mead on Sunday. A post on Facebook seems to be from the person whose boat started the blaze, which caused, in his words, up to 25 boats to be destroyed. I'll read an excerpt from that here. Now, he says in a statement on Facebook, he said, our 50-foot Gibson burned and sank this week in the Las Vegas Boat Harbor, taking 25 other vessels with it. My wife and grandson awoke in the middle of the night to a cabin full of smoke. My wife got the grandson off the boat and woke our neighbors in the boat next to us. The neighbor notified the marina security guard, who hurried to the boat to help. Meanwhile, the wife and the guy next door searched for the source of smoke, but were unable to identify it. There were no flames to extinguish. The neighbor thought the smoke smelled electrical, so he checked the connection to the shore power, which he described as red hot. The shore power breaker was thrown and cables disconnected. Still no flames at this time, just thick grey smoke. Does sound like electrical fire. When the first flames erupted, they came from the area of the shore power connector and spread so fast the fire extinguishers had no chance. Half a dozen boats on our dock were immediately engulfed in flames, and a burning Sea-Doo was blown across to the other dock, claiming 20 more boats. The marina was not able to respond at that hour of night with their fireboats, and the fire department showed up an hour later but couldn't get hoses in position to be effective. An investigation is now underway to determine the cause of the fire, and he goes on to say, please check your cables and receptacle for any signs of excessive heat. Alright guys, we'll move on. Friday Yacht Spot. So first of all, we've got here a rather topical Motor Yacht Australia in happier times. Joe Merritt sent this footage in from the Brisbane River in Australia. Next we have Lady Mora just departing port in Malaga. This was back in March, sent in by Andrew Gray. You can see the helicopter on the helipad there as she's leaving. Also, it's got a folding passerelle, which is interesting. Normally they're telescopic. Now we've got some photographs here, quick fire spotting as we call it. First is Vive la Vie, sent in by Per Gunnar. He said the yacht was departed Gothenburg in Sweden at the time. Next we've got Motor Yacht Eminence, sent in by John G, and it looks like it's in Cannes, although the location wasn't actually specified in the email. Next is Motor Yacht Katara, also in Cannes, same photographer. And then the third one is Motor Yacht North Star, also sent in by John G. All right, next we've got Motor Yacht Scout in Amsterdam, sent in by Mark G. And then we've got Motor Yacht Sunrays, moored in Rhodes, that's in Greece if you don't know, Old Town Port on the 27th of January, sent in by Ian Barrett. And then last but not least, we've got Motor Yacht Viva in Ontario, Canada, back in March, sent in by Terry Nicholson. All right, guys, we've got loads of extra footage and behind the scenes footage on our Patreon page. So if you want to see that and support the channel, please check it out, patreon.com/eSysman. We have a new feature coming out on Sunday. It's about the Zelensky yacht story. It's also in Italy, in Imperia in Italy. We're looking at one of the boats that was actually mentioned in that fake story. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch the video on Sunday. If you can't wait until Sunday, you can find that feature already posted on our Patreon page. So check it out there, and it's advert free, patreon.com/eSysman. Right, if you've got any information for us about any of the stories here or any other stories, please be sure to get in touch. You can get us in the normal fashion. You can get us in the email address and the ticker. You can get us on the About page of the YouTube channel. You can get us on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook Messenger, and on Threema. Be sure to like this video. Very important for the algorithm. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for future notifications. Have a great Friday, guys. Have a great weekend also. And don't forget to check out our feature coming on Sunday. And I'll catch up with you next week. All right, guys. Bye-bye.